and welcome back to Jane Doe Reads. I am your host, Jane Doe, here for your reading needs. And as always, I do have permission from the lovely author, QueenStarrOfTheUniverse, to post their fic here on YouTube. Happy Halloween! It's spooky. I honestly don't know what I'm dressing up for Halloween today, but let's decide for me later. Anyway, let's get on to the fic. The tags on screen for you guys are important. The ones that are bolded are the ones that I think are the most important. So please read over the tags. Make sure that you are getting into what you want to. Please read over it. I don't want you reading something and be like, oh, I didn't know that this was in here. Tags are important. Anyway, let's start reading. I know it's been a hot minute, but anyway, I'm getting distracted. This is Adventures of a Screwed Up Clone by QueenStarrOfTheUniverse. Chapter 9. Alfred the Cat. Sparkly. It's a little more reinforced now, Dick is explaining. The extra expense was worth it if we didn't have to replace it every other month.
You could always just not swing on it,
Danny says. She doesn't sound convincing, even to herself. Dick barks out a laugh, putting his hands on his hips. Yeah, right. They stare at the chandelier for another long moment.
I want to swing on it,
Danny confesses. There's nothing she wants more in this moment than to hang on the chandelier, and shaking all the crystals on it like a glorious wind chime. Me too, Dick replies. Absolutely not. Danny and Dick jump at Alfred's voice. He's wearing his outdoor shoes, so he must be on his way out to the market, like he announced earlier. He must have suspected Dick's intentions and came to check on them. Drat. Danny can just tell that she's not going to be able to get away with much anytime Alfred's around. If either of you swing on the chandelier, I will abstain from baking the snickerdoodles I promised last night.
Ugh, that's a good threat,
Dick mutters in defeat.
Anything for the snickerdoodles.
Danny agrees. Alfred hums, looking between the two of them, and then apparently decides they're telling the truth. I'll be back before lunch. Dick and Danny say their goodbyes as the older man walks out the side door, and then they continue on their tour. Before they make it down the staircase, Danny comments,
I can't believe you have a butler.
Vlad didn't have any.
Ugh.
She shouldn't think of him. It'll ruin her time with Dick. Alfie's family, Dick replies. He runs the entire manor.
That seems like a lot of work.
We're fairly sure he's superhuman.
Why don't you guys get more help?
Alfred would probably kill them, Dick answers seriously. This place is his. Alfred would make an absolutely terrifying ghost. He's already protecting his home like it's his haunt. Dick continues on with the tour, leading her through the winding halls of the manor. It's huge, obnoxiously, ostentatiously, almost offensively huge. 6 floors and a basement, easily over 20,000 feet, over 100 rooms. It's nearly the size of Phantom's Keep, and that's a literal castle. It's so much bigger than Vlad's mansion. He would be furious if they were compared. First on the tour is the basement. Dick briefly shows her around, but it's not too interesting. There's a panic room that resembles a bank vault with comfy seating and refreshments, an oak room with shelves to the ceiling of wine bottles, and several storage rooms stuffed with boxes. The first and second floor has a huge ballroom behind the entry foyer. A walkway balcony divides the room and allows for access to the other second floor rooms. Between the first and second floors, there's a gym, the catering kitchen and guest dining room, 2 sitting rooms for receiving guests, a parlor and a grand saloon for entertaining guests, 2 offices, one for business, one personal, a grand library, a portrait room of the family, paintings and pictures, a sunroom full of windows and plants, and Alfred's quarters, which is apparently the size of a decent apartment, but Dick didn't show her since it's Alfred's space. The third floor has 10 bedrooms, the family kitchen and dining room, a game room, and a theater. Dick doesn't spend much time on the bedrooms, since he doesn't want to invade their privacy, and mentions that his own is a mess. Besides, he seems too excited to stay still in any given place. The fourth floor is full of guest bedrooms, a guest kitchen, and a much smaller, cozier library. It's fairly uninteresting, so they move to the fifth floor fairly quickly. The fifth floor is where all their fun stuff is. Dick shows her the sewing room, which he explains is mostly used by Alfred and Cass, but that everyone in their family spends time in occasionally. We like to make our own costumes.
For Halloween?
Sure, and recitals and stuff. There's a ballet studio that Dick explains is for Cass, who loves to dance. Apparently, she's pretty nonverbal and prefers to speak with her body, whether through visual arts or sign language. Danny admires the clean but obviously well-used studio and tries to imagine what dancing in front of all those mirrors might feel like. Maybe Cass will let her. Another room is smaller, only a bit bigger than a regular closet. This, Dick explains, is Tim's dark room. He only shows her because he knows that there's no photos currently being processed. Danny is particularly interested in this room, and she wonders if Tim would let her borrow a film camera for her own pictures. They might actually turn out all right. Dick doesn't have his own hobby room, explaining that the gym downstairs has acrobatic equipment for him and there's already a game room on the third floor. He also mentions that Jason's own hobby room is really just the fourth floor library, since he loves books, and the kitchen, where he's allowed to cook, and apparently the only Wayne kid to gain that privilege. Damien apparently has a few areas for his hobbies, the biggest being the barn in the back full of animals he rescues and rehabilitates. Dick promises that he'll get Damien to show her around, but admits that he can't do so without the younger boy here at the risk of severe bodily harm. Danny is even more convinced that she has to meet this guy. He sounds so violent, but also soft. She has to know what that looks like. The 13-year-old Wayne also has a room for his other passion, art. The next room Dick shows her is an art studio full of light from a wall of windows overlooking the extensive backyard, with several comfortable places to sit and sketch. Danny would love it, adore it actually. But on the nearby settee, there's a cat. Danny hates cats. Vlad had cats. He named them both after Danny's mom, Maddie and Madeline. They both hated her, scratched up her arms whenever they were given the chance, and they had a lot of chances. Made messes that Vlad blamed her for, and were generally the cherry on top of Danny's incredible experience at the Master's mansion. She had never given cats another chance, not that she had many opportunities beyond the rare alley cat that hissed at her if she glanced at them. She refuses to meet any others. Cats suck, and there's nothing that will change her mind. Danny glares at the offending animal as soon as she sets her eyes on it. The cat blinks lazily at her, stretching its back as it prepares to get up. Oh, and look! Dick steps forward and meets the cat when it jumps off its perch to approach the man. Dick crouches down and rubs a gentle hand along the cat's back as it rubs against its legs. This is Alfred, the cat. Danny scoffs. He laughs softly, careful not to spook the cat. It's Damien's way of showing affection for Alfred the person. The cat makes its way to Danny despite her increasingly intense glare.
Don't come near me.
Danny threatens. The cat doesn't even slow down. Danny jumps on Dick's back as he goes to stand back up, throwing her legs around his waist and her arms around his shoulders. Dick barely stumbles despite her sudden attack and stands back up, resting his arms under Danny's legs to hold her in place. Are you afraid of cats? Dick asks, turning to face Alfred as the cat sits, tail curling around his body. He looks up at Danny curiously. Danny keeps glaring.
No,
Danny replies.
I just hate them.
Why? Danny doesn't want to explain. There's so much behind that story that she doesn't want him to know about. That wouldn't make sense without lots and lots of context. So, instead, she says,
I'm a dog person.
The way you're clinging to me to stay away from the animal that a fourth of your size suggests otherwise. Dick banters back, but he makes no move to put her down. It's very cat-like.
I don't want it to sniff me,
She insists.
Then he can think you can come near me.
Cats like it when you leave them be. It's good cat manners.
Do they like being thrown down the stairs?
Danny shoots back.
I can do that instead.
Dick laughs. Please don't. Damien might kill you. The cat starts creeping forward again, and Danny slaps Dick's chest.
Let's get out of here.
She can feel him shaking with laughter, and she kicks her feet a bit.
Go, Grayson. Close the door behind us.
All right, Dick agrees. But before he can close the door, the cat darts forward into the hall. Run! Danny shrieks. Dick takes off in a dead sprint, the cat following closely behind.
It enjoys the chase, Dick. Go, go, go!
Dick's chest is heaving with either exertion or laughter as he runs down the hall. When he rounds the corner to the stairs, he leaps onto the banister and slides down the railing on his socked feet. Danny would be ridiculously impressed with the stunt. They're going pretty fast on the way down, and Dick doesn't hesitate. But the cat is gaining ground. Dick jumps off the banister and runs down the next hallway. Without warning, he darts into one of the rooms lining the hall and slams the door shut behind them. Danny holds Dick tight as a tiny paw pokes out from underneath the door and swats at the air.
Can it get in?
Danny whispers. The cat makes another noise from the hallway. Are you kidding me? It's a cat.
You didn't answer my question,
she hisses. No, Danny, no, the cat cannot get through the closed door. Danny doesn't bother getting offended by Dick's patronizing tone. She doesn't trust cats. What if it has a kitty door? She watches the paw bat at the carpet just inside the door. Danny is 100% convinced it's looking for a way in. He's a very well-behaved cat. Dick tries to convince her. Danny is not convinced.
He chased us through the halls,
she counters. He thought we were playing.
He's a cat.
You are ridiculous. Dick laughs. He's friendly.
He's a cat.
All right. Well, do you want to wait him out? It might be a while. We've piqued his interest. Danny sets her chin down on Dick's shoulder.
You distract him and I run?
You sacrifice me like that? Dick gasps, affronted.
You said he was friendly.
You don't even believe me.
You pet him before.
And clearly, you think he'll attack.
I know he probably won't attack. I don't want him to think it's okay to come near me.
Unfortunately, he's interested in you now, so good luck with that. There's a soft knock on the door, and both Dick and Danny yelp in surprise.
Did the cat learn how to knock?
Danny asks, horrified. Don't be ridiculous, comes a posh English voice from the other side of the door. The door opens to reveal both Alfreds, one in the crook of the other's elbow, a judgmental look in both of their eyes. If you two are quite done shouting at each other, I prepared some ham and cheese sandwiches for lunch. Danny glares at the cat.
I don't trust you,
she mouths at the cat. Miss Danny, this is a cat. Alfred deadpans. He will not understand what you've said, verbal or otherwise. Danny shrinks behind Dick.
You don't know that. Cats are evil.
Alfred lets out a long, suffering sigh. Very well. He steps past the two black-haired youths and sets the cat gently on the guest bed covered in a white sheet in the room Dick has run into. He gives the cat a gentle pat and then shuts the door behind him, leaving it trapped. Now you may rest easy. Let's adjourn to the sunroom. Danny cautiously lowers herself to the ground, Dick remaining a champ the whole time by staying still and letting her climb off of him like he's a jungle gym. Danny looks at the door.
Is he going to be all right?
Dick can't stop surprised laughter from bubbling out of him, and Danny glares as he shoves a fist in his mouth and tries to stifle it. Alfred is looking at her too, but he just says calmly, He'll be fine, Miss Danny. I'll come retrieve him in a few minutes. Look, Danny hates cats, but that doesn't mean she wants them to suffer or anything, and she definitely won't admit it, but she's mostly being dramatic. She normally just avoids cats. She meant what she said, though. She doesn't want the cat to think it can approach her. The less memories of her time with Vlad, the better. And she's already getting enough reminders with the whole mansion thing.
I can't believe you have a cat.
Danny grumbles on their way to the sunroom, which she vaguely places as somewhere on the second floor.
I thought you were a dog person.
I am, Dick replies. Alfred the cat isn't my cat. He's Damien's. All the animals here are.
Are there more cats?
I think so. Danny watches Dick cast a questioning glance at Alfred, who's keeping pace with his hands clasped primely behind his back. Alfred answers Dick's unanswered question. To my knowledge, there's a litter of kittens Master Damien found in Park Row. He's nursing them back to health in preparation for adoption.
Kittens aren't so bad.
Danny mutters.
They're tiny. I can beat them in a fist fight.
Neither cats nor kittens have fists, Miss Danny, so I'm afraid your prediction means little. Danny wonders if Alfred is amused. He's a hard man to read, but she gets the sense that he's enjoying her shenanigans. It's kind of hard to tell with the dry voice, though. Do you think you can win in a fight against Alfred? Dick asks curiously. They reach the sunroom and Alfred holds the door open for them. Danny looks at the butler as she passes. There's not a chance in the realm she's able to put this sweet, terrifying man on his back.
Absolutely not.
Dick sees whom she's eyeing and chuckles. I mean the cat.
Absolutely not.
Danny repeats. That was a full-grown cat back there. She'd be helpless, fist or no. With a slight smile, Alfred shows them to where he set up lunch. The sunroom is a bit like a greenhouse, mostly full of fresh herbs and vegetables. The sun fills the entire room, and it would be hot if there weren't heavy-duty fans blowing cool air around the room. The small lake in the backyard glitters in the midday light, and Danny feels like they're at a resort. On the nearby patio table, there's a small platter of sandwiches and a pitcher of what Danny guesses is lemonade. I do hope you receive Titus more favorably, Alfred comments slightly as he holds out the chair for Danny to sit in. Danny beams at him in gratitude before asking,
Who's Titus?
Master Damien's Great Dane, Alfred replies. He's currently keeping the aforementioned litter of kittens company while Master Damien's at school.
There's a dog?
Danny flutters her hands in excitement.
I love dogs!
Dick laughs at her antics before saying, Thank you for lunch, Alfred. Danny parrots him, smiling brightly at the older man. She feels intense fondness from him, though that may be a mirror of her own feelings reflecting back at her. I must attend to the cot. Ring me if there's anything you need. Alfred leaves them there to enjoy their lunch. Danny is quickly growing spoiled with the ridiculously good food. The sourdough bread is freshly made, and the cheese is something fancy with flecks of spice in it that pairs so well with the honeyed ham. The lemonade is made with actual lemons, little slices floating between the ice cubes. Delicious.
What's after lunch?
Danny asks after devouring her third sandwich. She sips at the lemonade, enjoying the way it tenuously balances sweet and sour.
Isn't there another floor?
Yeah, but that's just the attic. We can go up there if you want, but otherwise, I want to show you your room.
It's weird that you got me a room,
Danny tells him.
You didn't even know I'd be coming.
I hoped, he replies, giving her a warm smile. Tim was right, though. I tend to buy things when I'm stressed. Danny laughs at him, then switches gears.
When will Tim be back?
She's already felt that spark of connection she felt with Dick, and she's eager to expand on it. Late, Dick answers. That boy makes workaholics look like slackers. Danny snickers at his obvious disdain. She can sense the intense care Dick has for his brothers, and can tell that he worries. It makes her feel even better to know how that same care extends to her. It's nice to know that she's not a special case or an obsession of his, just another sibling. Her core warms at the thought.
And the others? Who I'll meet?
Well, there's Damien, who gets home from school around 4. Cass is at dance, and then she has something with her friends, so she might not get back until the early morning. Tim and I will be working late, but I should be back for dinner, and Alfred will be home all day.
Oh, you are busy,
Danny says. She's a bit disappointed, but not entirely surprised. Dick's been looking more and more exhausted as the day wears on, despite his obvious excitement to show her around. We'll do something after dinner, Dick promises. I just need to get a few things done. It'll only take a few hours. Danny stares at him in disbelief. All right, well, I won't be done, but I'll be able to take a break in a few hours. He amends. My dad is an insanely busy person. Oh, right. The whole reason Dick is in Gotham in the first place. His sick dad.
Is he doing okay? What happened to him?
Second bout of dengue fever, Dick recites, and then further explains. It's a tropical disease spread by mosquitoes. The first time you get it isn't usually bad, like a mild case of the flu, but getting it again can be really dangerous. Bruce decided not to transfer out of the Guatemalan hospital he's in right now.
Are any of you going to go visit him?
No, the area can be dangerous, so he asked us not to. Dick shrugs. He gets injured and sick all the time. He got some great medical care, so he'll be just fine. Danny hums. His blasé attitude towards his dad's illness points towards this being fairly commonplace. Her ghost biology helps her evade most pathogens, so she's been fine even after all her travel, but she's seen some of the devastating effects on travelers and locals alike. Mosquito-borne diseases are particularly prevalent in lower-income countries, but Danny's doubly immune to those since they die the second they come in contact with her blood.
When will he be back?
Hard to say. A month? Maybe 2.
Will he be annoyed that I'm here?
There are 2 reasons for this question. Danny is genuinely worried about annoying anyone with her presence. She's never stayed anywhere, okay? And she also wants Dick to know that she plans on being here in a month or 2. She plans on being here as long as he is. From his radiant smile, he picks up on that bit of subtext. No, he loves when people are in the manor. The more, the better.
The more the merrier,
Danny corrects, ignoring Dick's rolling eyes.
And I'm glad. I don't want to overstay my welcome.
Dick's baby blue eyes soften and he offers her a gentle smile. You could never, he promises, even if you stayed for the rest of your life. Danny smiles back, but she quickly grows uncomfortable with the heavy aura.
So,
she drawls, glancing over the lawn to break eye contact.
You had a room for me?
Dick lights up. After they clean up their lunch, Dick leads her back to the 3rd floor and shows her a wooden door. There are nameplates on the rest of the doors, all of them creatively decorated, but this one is blank. It's across the hall from Cass's door, whose nameplate has curly writing for her name, the surrounding area covered in music notes with a sparkly pair of ballet shoes to the side. Danny's room is the 3rd in the little alcove in the corner of the common area. The boys' rooms, which Dick explains, are along the other wall, with Bruce's in the opposite corner and the game room on the next wall. The alcove area houses Cass, Stephanie, and now Danny. According to Dick, this room used to be an empty guest room that has been used in the past for Barbara and some of their other friends, but he insists that there are other several guest rooms just upstairs that they can use instead. So now it's yours, he finishes. Are you ready?
I can't contain myself.
Danny deadpans, struggling to keep down a smile in the face of his infectious excitement.
Just open the door already.
He sticks his tongue out at her, but he does as she says. It's just a room. Yeah, it's a big room, but Danny was expecting streamers or something from Dick's Energy. Instead, there's just a regular old room. A heavy wood dresser, a ceiling fan light, a desk, a little sitting area with 2 armchairs and a TV, a large king or queen-sized 4-poster bed, and a door that presumably leads to a closet. It's impersonal and freshly clean, and Danny shrugs, figures it could be worse, and goes inside. There's a throw blanket thrown over the white comforter. Remembering Tim's earlier comment about a blanket, Danny grabs it and holds it open. It's a weathered yellow-tan color, fuzzy and ridiculously soft. But the best part is that this blanket is a map. The words are hard to read from the fabric, but the countries and their boundaries are clear. It's a map of the world. Danny notices the design is a couple years old, since some of the countries in Africa are wrong, but she loves it. Danny wraps it around her shoulders and snuggles into it.
I love it,
She says quietly. She's not used to gifts. She's never thought of herself as a material person, but she loves this blanket. She wants more stuff like it. She wants everything she owns to have maps on it, or stars, or to be her favorite color or material, or to have a rich history or cultural background. I thought you would, Dick brags, pretending not to notice her little moment. She greatly appreciates it. I also got a few more clothes, just copies of the stuff I had at the apartment, and Tim's right, I did get maps of Gotham. A couple atlases, too. They spend the next hour hunched over at the desk, making notes on what Danny deemed the best of the Gotham maps. Danny circles areas of interest, and Dick writes notes about which places to avoid and when to avoid them. It's Dick's phone that breaks their concentration. He pulls it out and checks the caller ID. A L. Fox. I have to take this, Dick says apologetically. I'll be back before dinner. Let Alfred know if you need anything. Danny nods and waves him out. He answers the phone and starts talking about numbers and trends and statistics. Danny stops listening. She goes back to her map for a few minutes, but loses her interest in it quickly. She needs to see the city, or at least have some kind of visitor's guide to continue annotating. Going out into the city the first day here seems a bit rude, so she'll just have to entertain herself another way. She finds her entertainment in trying to explore, getting hopelessly lost, and then laying on the ballroom floor drawing up a map of the manor for future reference. She's opted to use 7 papers all on top of each other to get each floor. The papers and pens came from Alfred, who'd she run into in the parlor when she's been all turned around and disoriented. He handed her the materials and then showed her the full manor intercom system that she could use to ask for directions. Like she ever used that. Her pride would never allow it. She starts with an outline of the house, foregoing measurements and scaling in favor of a really, really rough sketch just to pin down locations. She hasn't been all around the house yet, so she doesn't even know its general shape, so she just goes with a rectangle for now. A shaded inner rectangle designated the ballroom, and she focused on adding rooms along the sides of the door she can see from her position on the floor. The dimensions are incorrect, comes an accented voice from above her. Danny had noted the steps were approaching her, but she was trying to focus, so she ignored them. The ballroom is far too large in your poorly made drawing. Danny finishes the room she's on before looking up at her visitor. It has to be Angsty Bro. He's around her age, her biological one anyway, wearing a sharp academy uniform and an even sharper expression. Danny can see hints of a Chinese descent in him with olive-toned skin and raven hair, though that's mostly since Dick mentioned his mother was half Chinese and she knew to look for it. His face is angular, all hard lines, and Danny wonders if he's ever smiles. His eyes are the most prominent feature, bright green, some shade between jade and emerald. Piercing in a way Danny knows means he's dissecting everything around him. Right now, that intense look is focused on her. She wonders what he sees in her.
It's just a start,
Danny says.
Are you Damien?
His expression doesn't change, but she gets the impression he's displeased. I supposed you are the street urchin Richard brought from Bloodhaven? Danny wrinkles her nose at the implication that she was brought by anyone.
I came here on my own.
He did not mention your name.
It's Danny,
she replies with a smile. He's grumpy, but Danny senses something deeply caring in him. Her weak emotional sense picks up on greater anger and even greater pain, with a kindness forged in hardship and suffering that grows like an undying flame. She senses, no, that can't be right. She's never met anybody with so much death in their aura. She can see souls trailing after him. She can sense the cutting pain of death he experienced himself. But he's just a teenager. There must be another reason death saturates his aura. Echo-contaminated, maybe? The other teen stiffs. I do not address others by nicknames.
That sucks,
Danny answers, returning to her map.
'Cause I'm not giving you any more than that.
I suppose it's short for Danielle.
Don't call me that!
Danny snaps, a twist of fear squeezing her lungs so unexpectedly she nearly gasps.
It's not my name.
Shall I address you as Khalil Deb? Danny giggles. He just insulted her in Arabic, almost certainly unaware of her own proficiency in the language. She wasn't quite fluent, as her teachers were mostly uneducated lower-class citizens, but she's been often called this. Khalil Dab refers to someone who lacks good manners or is uncivilized. Things Danny has been called very, very often.
It fits, so go ahead.
Damien silently appraises her, his brows scrunched as he tries to decide whether or not she's only pretending to understand. Eventually, he seems to give up and tuts. Get off the floor. I will fix the inaccuracies in your blueprints.
It's a map,
Danny insists, but does as he requests. It is a blueprint, he corrects. Danny grabs her papers and follows after him as he leads her into the library. The diagram you are drawing is a technical design of a single building. Therefore, it is a blueprint. Danny hums, reconsidering her drawing. Maybe she likes blueprints too, then. Sit. He points to one of the desks. Danny does, but only because she's curious about what he's doing. Damien searches through one of the file cabinets against the wall before withdrawing a thick folder. He puts it on one of the desks next to Danny, spotting her hands away when she immediately goes to open them. These are construction blueprints. They will have the measurements you require. Danny makes a grab at it again, but he holds it out of reach.
Then let me see.
I will request they be copied, he says, staring at her with those sharp, calculating eyes. I do not want them to be lost or damaged.
First of all, I'm always careful with maps. Secondly, I want to do this now. And the original is always better anyway. Thirdly, you can always just stay and make sure they're fine.
Hang out with her. Hang out with her. Danny wants to ask him so many things. I have more important things to do than babysit you. Damien stiffs. He finally lets her open the folder, watching closely as she withdraws the first diagram and unfolds it. Yeah, she loves blueprints. The detail is phenomenal. Measurements, color samples, furniture placement. She could essentially copy it and then relabel the rooms later for whose room is where. But she doesn't want to do it alone. Luckily, she has a pretty good idea of how to get Damien to stay. She draws a terrible approximation of the outer wall. The scale will be off if you keep that line. Damien immediately corrects. Danny erases it and redraws it, this time too close to the edge of the paper. That will leave you without room for the adjacent wall. Again, Danny erases it. This time, she slants her line slightly. The building will be crooked now. Danny cuts him a glare.
Would you like to do it?
No.
Okay.
Danny adds another line to her crooked one, and Damien huffs, pulling out the chair next to her. Give me the pencil. Danny hands it over, suppressing her victorious smile. Damien chooses one of her unmarked papers and starts gently sketching the lines. Danny goes back to studying the blueprints. When Damien finishes the basic structure of the first floor, she hands him another paper for the second. She starts drawing in rooms, adding detail whenever Damien interjects about some important feature, though it's mostly just to tell her what not to touch. Danny doesn't bother with the furniture, but she does make an effort to put in landmarks for the hallways so she can use to find her way around. She and Damien limit their conversation to the blueprints they're making, both focused on their respective tasks. Danny enjoys the humming piece of the other boy's aura as he sketches. Only those who have experienced great upheaval can feel peace like that. Danny wonders about him between periods of concentration on her work. When Damien finishes the final floor, he sets the paper down next to her and then folds his arms. I do not agree with Richard's decision to bring you here. Danny glances up at him.
Do you want me to leave?
Damien seems taken aback by her response, but he quickly schools his expression. I do, but I will not ask that of you. Danny tilts her head, trying to figure out what he's thinking. She focuses on his aura, but she can't parse out what he's feeling beyond mild irritation.
This is your home. If you don't want me here, I can stay in the city.
This isn't the answer he wants. He grows visibly frustrated. No, you're Richard's guest. You may stay.
Then what's the point of you bringing this up in the first place?
Damien's expression shudders, and he stands up, hands clasped behind his straight back. I simply wish to inform you that I do not like you. He's lying. Danny can feel it. She may not be able to figure out what he is feeling, but he definitely isn't regarding her with this disdain he's trying to put on his face.
Well, I like you,
Danny replies.
Dick said you grew up in Pakistan and that you traveled around a lot. I traveled too. I want to hear about all your adventures.
Damien grunts in response and walks away without another word. Danny watches him go until he leaves the library, then returns to her blueprint. He's as grumpy as she has imagined, and she likes him just as much as she thought she would. He's a free spirit, just like her. And he definitely likes her too. She just knows it. And that is the end of Chapter 9, Alfred the Cat. Ooh, oh my goodness. Let's just say, if you guys are angry at me, I totally understand. I'm angry with myself. I'm also sad at myself and disappointed. But you know what? Chapter 9 is out. Can I say I hate college? I feel like I hate college. I want to go what I want to do. Like I made college to do the thing that I want to do. Am I enjoying college at the moment? No. I have to write another paper in the next coming week, and it's due next Thursday. Have I started it? No. So I'm doing this instead. Yay! Yeah, I'm going to be doing this instead because papers are boring. I don't want to do school anymore. I want to post more videos. So that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, enough about me. I hope you guys enjoyed this chapter. The link is down in the description, so please go check it out. I also have a Google Drive that I'm sharing with you guys that you can access the story offline. And it's sequel series that I need to update because Queenstar of the Universe just updated their fic, so I have to delete the one on Google Drive and re-upload. I have work to do. But yeah, go check out their account. Go give them love, likes. Go read the story to yourself because, you know, I'm taking hot minutes. I'm taking too much time to record videos. This is too much. Well, not too much for you guys. I love you guys. And I also want to say, we're at 400 subscribers. You don't understand how happy that makes me feel. Like, I understand that I don't, like, ask for subscribers or likes or anything because, you know what? That's for you guys to decide. I don't want to... Why would I market myself? I'm just here to read. If you like me, you like me. You can subscribe, you can like, you can just filter on in, say hello there, and leave. You know what? Just seeing you guys liking and commenting and subscribing to my channel really means a lot to me. I get really, really motivated seeing as I am now. Also, I know I said happy Halloween earlier, but happy Halloween! Halloween's my favorite holiday. I'm jibber jabbering too much, but that's fine. I can jibber jabber. I need to stop jibber jabbering. To end my jibber jabber, I'm going to end our reading session for today. So, this is Jane Doe, and I'll see you guys in our next reading session. Bye!